Hi, it's Martin's Engine Services. Or today it's Martin's Outdoor Equipment Repair Service. So far today I've serviced a lawnmower. My good customer and all his family bring their cars here. It's a mower he bought early this year and he likes to keep them in tip-top condition. So we had a nice morning servicing that, and he brought biscuits and we've had tea, so most pleasant. Now he's left me his cartridge pressure washer to have a look at. And it's got a few intriguing problems. However, before I take it apart and have a look at it, I must like to point out that this is only an entertainment video and not a how-to repair video. Obviously, there is mains electricity involved here, and I must not encourage you to take yours apart. If you do so, it is entirely your own risk. I'm not an electrical engineer. I understand the safety of electricity and how to sort of like test it in bits and pieces, but this is not a training video or a how to repair it and how to test it video, so please be aware of that. I know I don't often do things like that, but I think I did that with the old gas fire I took apart and said please do not use this as a repair video. I just want to make that clear that it is entertainment. So what I'm going to do now, I'll just explain briefly. No, Martin's off again. Briefly, what's happened? It was working absolutely perfectly up to about a week ago, and he'd finished jet washing, and he obviously turned off the handset or the trigger, and the machine won't stop. Now this has got the built-in pressure release system or pressure stop system, where once the pressure in the pipe stops you stop the trigger, and the pressure in the pipe builds up. The pressure release switch in here cuts off the power. Excuse me. And then when you trigger on again, it carries on. However, this is not stopping. And even more interestingly, when you put the switch here into the off position, the machine is still running. I've tried to flipping the switch backwards and forwards, but no, it just stays on and you have to unplug it to stop it. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. So the first thing I discovered, which we've lost, there it is. First thing I've actually discovered, get hold of it, this is the internal trigger off the end of the handset. And this little spring-loaded device here is the plunger inside which lets the water out. High pressure water comes in the bottom here, and then the rest of the wand attaches to there. So this was actually leaking. The water was not flowing a lot. There was quite a bit of leakage. So I managed to get this apart by carefully teasing this clip off, and there's an O-ring on this shaft which looked a bit sort of abraded. So I've replaced the O-ring, and this now seems to work. I thought, great, because obviously if the water's leaking out of there, the pressure doesn't build up in the hose sufficiently to trigger the switch. I thought, great, problem solved. So I took it outside, and using a pair of pliers on there, on top of that, I jet washed the concrete outside the workshop. Great. Washed it a few times. It did make a few weird noises, the machine, and then we had quite a lot of sort of foamy water come out. Ooh, okay, nice airlock in there. Now I finished it. I triggered off. Water stopped coming out of here. Thing's still going. It won't stop. Uh-oh. So that's when I say I tried the switch and whatnot. No, it ain't stopping. Now, normally these machines pack up and refuse to go, but this one decides that it wants to keep going and going and going. Now I do presume that inside this machine must be a pressure bypass, so that in the event of that happening, the water basically recirculates, similar to the old model where you had them turned on all the time and the pump ran all the time, which is the type I've got, and I do prefer that because I think it's kinder on the motor and the workings, not keep powering it on and off. I mean, mine's over 30 years old now. Apart from the switch I had to improvise and a few new internal seals, it's still all original. So that says it all. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to dig into this. I'm trying to work out how to get the casing off, and found a couple of screws around here, and this bit sort of, and this does, and that's kind of, and hello. Oh dear, excessive play in near side wheel bearing. Hello, who's this just come? Hello. We've got a little chap here. Oh, it's a spider. He's just come out from underneath this cover. He's probably been having a nice little rest in there all week, and now somebody's got a lunatic working on it. He seems to be having some traction problems on the slippery plastic. He's hanging in there. Oh no, he's going down. I'll rescue him and pop him outside. Find him a new home. Yeah, look at that. He's having some serious traction issues. And he's got 8-wheel drive, so he's not looking too good there. I'll rescue this poor guy and then I'll take it apart and see what we find. So, back in a mo. Right, crisis over. The spider's been rescued. I've just put him up on the workshop door with all the other spiders, so he's all right. So we just started undoing a few screws and see what happens. The old ripping and a tearing time. But I think what does happen here, I believe, well, I've had this apart before a few years ago, and I think that's it. You can get the hose reel off the top. There's a quick release connector up here, if you can see that. Just about see that. There's a quick release connector up there. Pull that out, pull the pipe out, and then the whole hose reel assembly theoretically comes off. There we go. Now, I think yeah, looking good. Well, oh, that didn't sound good. I think it's a screw just falling out. There we go. Just a little persuasion needed. Oh, now, because that bit's got to come through that bit. Okay, let's pause things for a moment while I untangle this mess. I've got myself into a right mess here. We have separation. I've done all the screws I could find and basically pulled. And it all kind of flowed apart. Oh no. Yeah. There seems to be the rest of the spider family in there. Sorry guys. Yeah. Yes. Oh, I see. Right, that goes there. Right, okay. Obviously, double check you have got it unplugged. There's your pressure pipe. Right, what's that? Ah, that's that screw I lost earlier. There it is. Right. So that's the basics of the pump. That's where the soap picks up. Not that that gets used at all now. So we should be able to. Yes, no? Ah. Right. Well, there's the insides of the whole operation. Balance that somewhere. Now in here will be your pressure switch, which picks up off the pump here. Now, and there actually is the see you can actually see that. No, a bit. Let's make a little adjustment, right? How's that looking? That's better. Terrifying touch of professionalism there. You can actually see what we're talking about. This is your pressure switch assembly and mains on off switch, because there actually is the main switch there. And that's obviously bolts to the unit here. And when the pump makes its pressure, it obviously cuts it off. So, there's spiders everywhere in here. Now, how does we get this off of the pump? I think, remember right, I did change one of these on a different machine, I think, for somebody. Now, I think we have to do is undo the pump head and then the two separates. Because obviously whatever's happened is inside here where the problem lies, so... Well, I'm presuming, shall we say. It's just a gasket, we can't do anything. It doesn't smell like anything bad's happened, so... Normally you get an electrical smell if it's gone really bad. There's no grease or oil thrown out of here or water coming out. There's like the drain holes. You've got your three plungers, three plungers in there. 1, 2, 3 plungers that create the pressure into the manifold, into the pumping chamber here, and then your pump head on the top. So I think, well, very handy. I think what I have to do is undo these bolts and try and pop this off and have a look. So this could be interesting. We'll get rid of this bit out of the way. That's seized in there a bit. Let me just battle that off and bring you back. Well, I've done 3 bolts in the back here, and that doesn't seem to come off there. I'm presuming this must lift off an O-ring, so I'm just undoing the bolts on the pump head. I've got a feeling these might be under spring tension, because I remember my one is like that, and one I've stripped down in the past has been like that. And well, let's find out. Oh, maybe, maybe not. Yeah, the whole pump head's coming up with it. There we go, it sprung up. I think I can see the source of all the brown rusty water. Something looks a bit horrid in there. Right, let's take those out. It's going to fly apart at some point. It's going to go in all directions. These don't want to come out of there. This doesn't want to come off of here. It's moving, but I don't want to destroy any of the gaskets, and the ordinary O-rings are alright, but you don't want to destroy any of the special gaskets and seals, because some of them are eye-watering expensive. Right, here we go. There we go. There we go. Ah, yes. Yeah, what's happened, one of the internal seals here has gone and it's been putting water into the grease, and that's what the horrible smell, that's why it hasn't got full power. Oh, well, they've changed the size of that as well for good measure. Very unnecessary long screw to hold an earth wire on. Right, so what you've actually got in here, these three pistons are operated by a plate on the end of the motor which sits at an angle and it kind of wobbles like that. And it pushes them in sequence, and they've got valves in the end. There's a two-way, one-way valve in, one-way valve out, and obviously it pulls the water in through wherever it goes in from, and then compresses it out in sequence. There is an internal seal, pressure seal, in here, and what happens is it leaks and the pressure goes back into this chamber here, which should be filled with normal clear or semi-fluid grease, and this has got water in it. You can smell it's contaminated. Yeah, and there is signs of water in here. The grease in here has gone quite horrible. Yeah, all the bearing plate's gone a bit rusty. It's probably all okay. Just needs a set of seals. You can see there the electrical connection for the motor. They just rely on. Oh, that's kind of super sketchy. There's a plug around here. There is the plug. It just sits in this hole, and that just seals with a tiny little O-ring. So there's a nice potential for a problem. Get a bit of rag, it's horrible this grease. I expect some water might drip out of there. Yeah, that should not be full of water, it should be full of grease. It smells awful. I think the motor's okay, and obviously there's a seal in all that, so that would all clean out and work again. So, let's move that to one side and have a look at the rest of it. So, here we have the pump head assembly with this switch built in, and this is still built in, so we've now got to split. Oh, there we go. The actual pressure seals are inside here. You can actually pull these out. And down inside there is actually a high pressure seal. You take these bushings out and you change the seals, and they just fail with age. Yeah, that one's pretty loose. Not bad. Not bad. That one's pretty much gone. I mean, they're not a big job to change. They're fairly common to a lot of machines, and in fact I think I've got a set of them actually in stock. I repaired one for a guy a long time ago, and I think we end up with two sets. Now, we have separation. Now down inside there are the other valves. I don't know if you can quite see, there's little white, yeah, there's little white things in there. They're the other valves. They push one way open with spring pressure, then they shut. Yeah, they push one way when the water comes in, then shut under pressure. I'm not going to take that apart because that's all nicely sealed around there. That's probably got a 25-pound O-ring on that. That must be the pin for the soap thing, yep. I don't know if you can hear that rain. It's absolutely lashing down out there. Poor Martin's dying for a cup of tea in here, but I'll have to brave it in a minute. One thing I have had before is the nozzle on the front is a very small aperture for the mains water pressure. Can actually get blocked up with limescale or something, so that can be an interesting one. There is actually a filter in there. This appears to be a valve that shuts off the water supply, which was operated from, oh, that other bit that's on the floor. Right, ignoring that, here is our friend the pressure switch. Oh, doesn't do anything. Now there's a hole here, and yeah, there's a pin here. That pin there obviously must be on the water pressure, and I presume that it goes in there and turns this off. Yeah, there's some sort of a switch in there, but it's actually locked solid. Let's try in that position. No, it's not moving at all. Dare I unclip the top? And this is obviously non-serviceable, so I guess you have to buy this whole assembly, which I imagine this would be quite a few pounds. Although it does have clips holding it on, and the inquisitive here, namely me, is going to take it apart. And if it never works again, it's just a little bit easier to transport, but it's because it'll be in loads of parts. Probably find they've glued it. Oh no, it moves, it moves. Yeah, there's no, oh, so I have a screwdriver hitting the floor. None of the vital parts of this falling off. Yeah, we definitely have movement. Surely not. Yes, it will come off. Quite often they glue these sort of things on and these tags hold it while the adhesive's going off. Been there with that one. Oh. I think an explosion of components is coming up in a minute, folks. Oh. Oh. Something feels a bit spring-loaded in there. Stand by. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, we definitely have separation. Oh. There's always one that wants to go on. Oh. Oh, I see lots of bits in there. They're up. Yay. Oh. Okay, not too dramatic. Oh, I see. We have a... Yeah. Oh, that's quite clever. I see. The on-off switch moves that grey plastic. Well, it would have done if it hadn't all fallen apart. Now that'll move that grey plastic thing round to release the switch. Oh, I see. So when it's in the run position, the pressure from the machine pushes on that, and that turns the switch on and off. So when that's off, that disengages that. Oh, okay. What if the switch is just is the problem? How does this come apart? Aha! It will come apart quite easily, just like that. Ah, I don't know if you heard that. It's the switch. It was stuck there and I wiggled it, it went click and it went off. Yeah, it's... Oh, that's all right. Just a few parts laying around, folks. Nothing to see here. Yeah, now when I just took that apart, that switch was stuck in that position. And then obviously that must be the off. That's the off position. That's the on. It was stuck there. And I wiggled it and so it went click inside and it started working again. So I presume then that the switch itself... Now, of course, it's working fine. The minute you put it back together, of course, it won't. So, oh, it's quite simple. I thought that'd be a much more complicated system than that. Yeah, so all that happens is this sits in there. It's gone quiet, folks. Don't worry. Yeah, so that just sits in there and operates the switch. So when there's pressure, yeah, we just clip that back together without the spring and we'll see how it works. Right, see that's obviously been pushed on by that pin. So now it's in the off position. So when the pressure comes on, the pin moves away. This then turns the machine on. And then when you turn off and the pressure comes back, it shuts that off. So the pin just pushes on there, on, off, on, off, on, off. And likewise, the manual control from the on-off switch outside just goes underneath this. So it locks that in that position. It locks it in that position. So it can't run. So obviously the switch must be broken internally. So it can't be anything else but the switch, thinking about it, because it can't have been a pressure fault, because it shouldn't be running when it was off. So once you've turned off that switch, this is free. And I say it was stuck in that position like that. And I pushed on there and so it went click and I felt something move inside. So I suspect that this switch is the guilty party. That's what I'm thinking. And it's possible you could find a switch, but I don't know. I'll look into that one, have a little investigation. So if that's all it is, and those seals in there, there is actually a part number on the switch. It may just be a standard component. So I'll have a look into that and see what happens. Anyhow, that's run into half an hour now. So that's what's inside of a cartridge pressure washer. Other machines are available. And I think that's the problem. Well, obviously that's the problem. So we'll switch and a set of seals. It's probably good to go. So I'll see what he wants to do with it. So otherwise, it seems to be in pretty good condition for its age. So, anyhow, if there's any interesting follow-up, I'll let you know. But as I said earlier in the video, please do not take this as a repair video or any sort of instruction on electrical repairs or anything of that nature. If you do so, you do at your own risk. So sorry having to add that, but you've got to be careful. Anyhow, thank you very much indeed for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please feel free to have a laugh at watching someone take something apart he's got no idea on. And please like and subscribe. Thanks very much for now.